On the show today, we sit down with Liberty University's brand new athletic director and ask him about his vision for the future.
We'll also introduce you to an organization that is using the game of softball to reach inmates around the country. That's all ahead. Game On starts right now.
Welcome into another edition of Game On. We're so glad you joined us today. Alongside of Rhett McGibbon, I'm Matt Warner. And I know I say it every week, but I'm telling you, we have a great show lined up for you today. And this time, I really mean it.
You always tell the
truth. Yeah, that's true.
Well, as always, we're going to bring you stories focusing on faith and sports today, and stories from right here at Liberty University as well.
Yeah, that's right. And we begin today with the Liberty men's basketball team. They hosted Furman this past Tuesday. Couple of 4-4 teams, an even matchup on paper, and as it turns out, an even matchup off paper as well. The Flames had their struggles in the first half of their previous two ball games, but on this night they would come out firing. Liberty would knock down 5 3-pointers in the first half as they built up a 27-20 lead heading into the break. The second half, however, is when things would really tighten up. Up by 1 with under 5 minutes to go, Ryan Kimwright, just a beast, doing all he could to keep the Flames in the lead. The bucket and the foul, he finished with a team-high 18. But Furman always seemed to have an answer. A 3 by Devin Sibley tied it up. And then the only second chance basket of the entire game comes here from Chris Acox as he puts the Paladins up by 4 with 34 seconds to play. And Furman would hang on for a 61-58 win. The Flames allowed the Paladins to shoot 58% from the field in the second half, and that's an area in which they desperately need to improve.
We shot 58% in the second half, and that's not indicative of a Liberty team. And until that changes, we'll be sitting on these stools with frowns. Well, at least I will, and instead of smiles, because we're better than that, and it's what we work on every day. But I think when you're young, you have a tendency to rely on offense. You evaluate or count your significance towards what you're doing offensively. And I mean, they kept ISOing guys. It was one after the other. Yeah. Caleb, then AC. It was literally one after the other. And I feel like we're better than that. We do it in practice on a fairly consistent basis, and it's my job to continue to reiterate and reemphasize how we need to defend in order to get the desired outcome.
Well, sticking with men's basketball, it is common to hear the name Henry Barrera come out of the mouth of players when they talk about their success. Henry is a nationally known strength and conditioning coach and was formerly the performance training specialist at Nike World headquarters in Beaverton, Oregon. Currently, he's preparing the Flames to reach new heights physically, and he tells us about this and more in a segment we call Game On Talks.
Today we sit down with Henry Barrera, the Director of Performance for the Flames men's basketball team. Coach, thanks for coming by.
Appreciate you having me. Thank you.
First off, you're like the man on Twitter, right? At Hoop Diaries.
Hoop Diaries.
Want to get it right, follow him. You're always on there. You're always just dropping knowledge on people, all these things that you're kind of thinking about. We know if anyone on the staff is the top Twitter follower or follow, you would be. Who would be number 2?
Number 2, I'd probably have to go with KG, Kyle Getter.
Yeah? Does he do a lot on there? Or does he just retweet you all the time?
A little bit of both.
Yeah?
A little bit of both. Yeah.
Tell me about, you seem like one of those guys that's a learner. You're always trying to gain knowledge. Have you always been that way, or did you kind of grow into that?
I kind of grew into it. You know, I think for me, I live by this mantra, learn, share, and grow. And, you know, I've had people in my life that have just fed into me. And that has made me become just a learner. You know, I think as soon as we stop learning, like John Wooden says, you know, the game is over. So, yeah, for me, it's just continuing to feed my mind and challenge myself. And you know, I'm around such great men in Kyle Getter and Richie and Brad and Marcus and Chelsea. They just continue to push stuff, and I just read it and share it. So.
Director of Performance is your title.
Mm-hmm.
That's more than just the physical side then, is that right? Are you doing more, or do you take that on as part of your role, kind of the mental aspect of things as well?
Yeah, you know, our word last year was mindset. So we have a performance model that we use for men's basketball. So it's built on 5 pillars. The first one being mindset. The second one is sleep. So nutrition, training, and readiness. So we think those 5 things, if you're operating at a high level, those things come together. So we're trying to get our guys really accountable every day for how they're living.
I see you too tweeting all your healthy food, all you're doing with that.
Yep.
Do you have a cheat day? Do you get out? And if you do, what's kind of your thing? Like, oh man, if I can go off the straight and narrow, that's what I'm getting.
You did your research on me, man. So so we do a cheat day at home. My kids love it. You know, we have 4 kids, and so they wake up on Saturday morning and they start yelling, "It's cheat day! It's cheat day! It's cheat day!" Lately, we've been into homemade pizzas. So we've been making our own little pizzas and putting whatever on them. And I'm a big sushi guy too. I love wasabi down the road.
Yeah.
So there's a couple vices.
So Saturdays is the day to crash your place for pizza. Is what
Typically,
you're saying.
we try to plan it. So, like, if you said, "Hey, you want to have dinner on Wednesday?" Well, then I'll plan my cheat day on Wednesday, so I know, like, I have the freedom to eat what I want to eat, and I'm not gonna jam you up by "Hey, I can't eat that."
Good. I'm glad you're not that guy. You know, you go out and you're like, I'm sorry, but I'm just gonna
try not to be.
sit here with my crackers or something. Yeah. You've worked with a lot of high-level athletes, you know, working at Nike and all of that. Throw out some names. Who are some guys that you've worked with that have really kind of impressed you, or you know, you're around a lot of those type people are the people that have stood out?
Yeah, so I've worked a ton of events. I think the guys that have impressed me, Nicholas Batum, played for Portland, but he came in to shoot 360. We did some work there, and he hit his first 67 shots in a row. Like, picked up a basketball and hit 67 shots in a row. To me, that's kind of impressive. You know, and so just when you're around these guys, just to think about things like length and height and all that stuff, they're just so long. You don't realize it if you're watching it on TV, but when you're up close and personal, you know, Steph Curry, I got to spend a whole day with him, and we analyzed his shot, and we tracked how he shoots a ball. So his shot deviates 0.15%. You know, so if you or I got some shots, our shot's going to deviate 10 to 15%. You're talking about 0.15.
When you're around these high-level guys, do you see kind of a common thread with guys that achieve that much in a field, something that you can kind of take away? And maybe when you're talking to Liberty players, be like, listen, this is what I see in these guys. This is how good players get great.
Yeah, no doubt. So these are the nuggets. This is exactly what I tweet about. You know, so I think one of the things is, you know, I've heard that what you do in training and on the court will define you as an athlete. What you do with the other 20 to 22 hours that you have in your day will define you as a pro. You know, and we don't think that every one of our guys is going to be a pro, but if they have that approach of living life and preparing for, you know, academics and performance and basketball and all this stuff, if they have that mindset, I think that's going to be a separator.
At Hoop Diaries. Thanks for the time, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, we brought you the news last week regarding the Flames' hiring of their new athletic director, Ian McCaw. McCaw spent the last 13 years as the athletic director at Baylor, where the Bears athletic department saw their fair share of success. Baylor achieved 5 national team championships and 58 Big 12 titles during McCaw's time there. Now his goal is to get Liberty University to that same level. How will he do that? Well, we will find out as Matt Warner is standing by with Ian McCaw.
Yeah, Rhett, thrilled to be joined by new athletic director Ian McCaw. Thanks so much for making time for us today.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Well, walk me through the timeline a little bit. When you kind of first knew that you were a candidate for this position, and for you, when did you know that Liberty was a place that you wanted to be?
You know, Liberty's a school I've had great admiration for many years, and certainly being at Baylor, following a fellow Christian institution, it's one that I've certainly been tracking on. And really, I'd planned this year. I was working for a consulting firm based in Texas, and planned on spending the entire year there through next summer. But obviously, when Liberty calls, that's just a unique and special opportunity, and certainly very honored to have the opportunity to serve and lead and steward this athletic program.
Now, when you move into any new job, there's always that transition period of trying to figure out everything, meet everybody. What's that been like for you, even in the early stages? What will it look like the next number of weeks? And how do you go about trying to familiarize yourself with a lot of people that maybe have been here for years before?
Well, it's been, first of all, a great 8 days so far, and really feel blessed. I've enjoyed every minute of it, and I've really been impacted by just the incredible people that make up Liberty and Liberty Athletics. The coaches, the staff, the student athletes are just incredible. Great leadership from President Falwell. He's such a visionary, very dynamic leader, and certainly the university's on a steep upward trajectory. So a lot of positive things going on, and so it's just a very dynamic time, and that's an exciting environment to work in.
I'm sure coming in, you have your own kind of specific idea of what you want, the program to become. And as you've gone through the interview process, I'm sure there were, all right, so here's some areas, how would you approach this? As you take a look at the athletic department as a whole, what are some areas where you feel like, all right, this is the biggest area for growth, this is where I feel like I can make the biggest impact maybe in the first year or two?
Yeah, you know, our vision is going to be, first of all, to train champions for Christ,
Absolutely.
to provide a world-class experience for our student athletes, and achieve victory with integrity. So those are the three themes that you're going to hear from me quite a bit. In terms of areas where I think we can make progress, I think certainly on the external side, embracing our alumni, getting people engaged, and generating resources. That's certainly something that'll be a focus for us without any question. And again, I think that you know, we're going to look to continue to build the Liberty brand, which is already got such great recognition across the country.
You've been in college athletics a long time, 13 years at Baylor prior to this. As you think back over your whole career throughout college athletics, is there one or two things that you've learned along the way that you feel like that has maybe changed the course of my career, or that is something I want to make sure people understand about me? This is what's important to me.
Well, the one thing I've learned, this is my fourth athletic director position, and the one thing I have definitely learned along the way is, you know, the early weeks, you want to spend a lot of time listening and learning, and so that's really what I'm doing. You don't implement a lot of decisions early on because oftentimes until you really understand the culture and the climate and all the intangibles going on, those tend not to serve you well. So I'm really at a point where I'm trying to soak it in, learn from our coaches, learn from our staff, learn from the other people at Liberty on campus. And once I get in a rhythm, then we'll be in a position to start moving forward. And one of the first things we'll be doing is developing a strategic plan for the athletic department, and that'll be a major initiative this year.
Exciting days ahead. Ian McCaw, thank you so much for stopping by, and we look forward to hearing a lot more from you in the future.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Brett?
Thank you, Matt. Well, the Liberty field hockey team received some news this past week. Serena Barr was named to the Longstreth National Field Hockey Coaches Association All-America second team. Serena joins her sister, Natalie, as the only other Lady Flame to receive All-American honors. Serena was also named to the Big East first team, Big East All-Tournament team, and lastly, named Big East Co-Defender of the Year. Another breaking news, the NSCAA named their All-Southeast Region team. Holly Van Noord and Isabella Habuda were selected to the list. This is Van Noord's fourth selection to the regional team and is the only Lady Flame to earn all-region honors 4 times. This is Habuda's first selection. Van Noord leaves the Big South as the all-time leader in shutouts with 34 and was named Defensive Player of the Year in the Big South for the second time in her career. Habuda had an excellent first season with Liberty, leading the Flames and the Big South Conference with 10 goals and 25 points. Well, coming up, when we come back, we take a look at how the game of softball is being used to impact the lives of men.
And as always, another splendid edition of Warm, Hot, and Fuego. That's when Game On returns.
The bay.
You know, conventional advertising says we should start with an arbitrary quote from a historic figure. It should make us sound nostalgic and wise.
Horizon showing where I long to be. Outward bound I travel on through rain or shine. Where empty.
Now we're supposed to cut to some slow motion footage of beautiful students to complete the package. Are you ready to apply now? Wait, scrap that. Listen, we're all tired of forced authenticity, and we don't want to waste your time with contrived quotes and stock footage. Let's try something different. You see, we believe in the challenge of a valuable education, the kind that keeps you well into the night as you search for the stars, the kind that prepares you for your dream job of changing the world. We love our beautiful campus, where diversity can be seen in the color of our skin and the service we engage in. We paint up, rise up, and stand up for truth. On 4th and 1, oh, you better believe we're going for it, because there's a fire in our hearts, a fire that burns for a better world. Like those who came before us, we're ready to roll up our sleeves and dig in. We have faith, hope, and love, so we become good fathers and mothers, co-workers and civil leaders, innovators, trailblazers, those who spark a revolution. We believe in training students how to remain true to their faith when the going gets tough, when those around you seem to rise against you. So if you're still watching, thank you. Let's build a better world for Christ. Liberty University, training champions for Christ since 1971.
Hey, welcome back to Game On. You know, oftentimes we share stories with you that show how sports can be used to reach people in ways that other things simply can't. And this next story takes that to another level, as one organization is using the game of softball to take the gospel behind prison walls. For most people, going into a prison is not exactly on their bucket list. But all around the country, every weekend, groups of men and women do just that with an organization called the Saints Prison Ministry. But their visit is a little more involved than you might think. In 1987, the Saints started out with a mission to reach prisoners by combining arguably two of the most influential forces in our world, faith and sports. One softball team based in New Jersey has now grown into 12 teams around the country, playing a variety of sports in more than 120 prisons a year, giving them the opportunity to share the love of Christ with the inmates.
Sports is a great equalizer, and it really is something that everybody, whether you can admit to being a sports fan or not, everybody's touched by it. In the prison, you have a whole lot of frustrated athletes. They're dying to compete against anybody but themselves. They play against each other day in and day out for years on end, and if there's an opportunity to compare themselves to outside competition, they're just jumping at it. And that's really the reason we use sports, is it's not for the game itself.
Just being in the yard can be a big enough accomplishment, but for the Saints to complete their real mission, they must also earn the respect of the inmates.
I don't think you gain their respect by working hard to relate to them. Inmates can see through a phony. And I think the way we earn their respect is by being transparent and being honest. By going in there, competing hard, treating them like men. Too often they're treated like a number or a statistic, and they're told every day what to do, where to do it, when to do it, who to do it with, how long you're going to do it. When they get out in the yard, they get to choose what they're going to do. Probably the greatest compliment I get at the end of the day is when an inmate will come up and say, you know, for the last 3 hours you made me forget I was in prison. That's when I know that he's willing to listen to what I have to say.
Once the Saints earn that respect, it doesn't take long for the inmates to warm up to them. For many, the time that the Saints are around provides a rare moment to feel free.
We love when the Saints come because it gives us a peace of mind, and we just feel free at that moment. Soon they come in the gates, we just be smiling.
I love it. Joining together in prayer. You know, it just gives you a chance to see each other, embrace one another, you know, all within love.
When the games are over, some of the Saints share their testimony of faith, while others simply spend time getting to know the inmates.
By the time we get to our gospel presentation, the inmate population has sensed there's something different about these guys. There's something real here, and we need to find out what it is. And I think that is what creates the best opportunities for us.
God commanded us to go and share the gospel. I mean, we love to share the Christ with these men, and we love to see the men respond. We love to see the appreciation on their face and the smile on their face, you know, just because we came in and spent some time with them and shared with them what's important.
The biggest message we want them to hear is that we love them, and more importantly, God loves them. And then I also challenge them, you know, in the area that, you know, truth has been shared with them, and now that truth calls for a decision, and they can't remain neutral on that decision. They either have to say yes to Christ, or they're going to reject Christ. They cannot remain neutral on it.
Rehabilitation is a popular word when you talk about the correction system. The Saints, however, prefer a different word, regeneration. The Saints are invested in the long-term change that Christ can make in the lives of the prisoners they meet.
If you teach an inmate electrical skills, you have a very qualified electrical criminal. If you teach them Jesus Christ, you have someone who's now changed from the inside out. They have a different reason for what they're doing. They have a different motivation for getting up in the morning. And they have a different purpose in their life. And it no longer is about what they need, it's about what Christ needs from them. And it just changes everything. It changes why they want to be fathers. It changes their view as being a father, as being a husband, as being a member of society.
All thanks to the Saints and their obedience to a calling that has no walls. Well, thanks to our own Matt Atkins for producing that piece. If you would like to learn more about the work that the Saints are doing or get involved yourself, just head on over to their website, saintsprisonministry.org. Joined once again now by a saint in his own right, Rhett McGibbon. Rhett here for Warm, Hot, and Fuego. As always, the top 3 athletic performances in Liberty over the past week.
Yep.
I must say, we're getting close to Christmas.
Oh, yes.
I know everyone's anxious. Maybe the greatest tradition in Game On lore, the lighting of Rhett. That's coming in a couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
But today we're playing it straight, and we begin as always with Warm.
Yeah, Warm. I was looking over my list here. It's kind of like the unsung heroes version of Warm, Hot, and Fuego. Okay. And for men's hockey, it's going to be Josh Hamilton. This is a guy that came into this team at the beginning of the year, and I don't even think he was in the lineup. And then all of a sudden, he just works his way up. He's getting some serious minutes. He's on the power play. He's on the PK. He recorded his first Gordie Howe hat trick, which is a goal, assist, and a fight against Westchester last go-around, which was great for him. You can see he polished off a nice goal there, a great feed from Crane. But this is a guy, he reminds me a lot of, look it up on YouTube, Tim Brent shot block. He just does anything to just throw his body in front of a puck. It's just team first. He doesn't worry about the name on the back. It's all about the crest on the front of the sweater.
That's right.
I love the guy.
Josh Hamilton, not to be confused with the baseball player.
Correct, yes.
Had it up and down.
Yeah, the Rangers got it. Yeah. No.
From warm now to hot.
Hot. Kian Green, this young lady, another kind of, you think about the names you hear in women's basketball, you hear a lot about
They're
Sellers.
all new, it seems.
Yeah, this young lady, what a game against Navy. 17 rebounds, 16 points for, a center. She played 32 minutes. That's a lot of time, I feel like, at least for one of your bigs. So she came out, a lot of youth for this team, and she's one of those young ladies, I think it's just, time goes on, this team is just going to continue to get better and better. And she's one as she learns to use her height and just her ability in the paint. She's just going to be fantastic, and I think she can become a dominant player in a couple years' time. And, you're so used to winning in the Big South with the women's team. I'm sure people are kind of getting a little impatient, but just hold on. Just, enjoy Christmas. And when the new year comes and they reach conference play, they're going to be in good shape.
I know Carrie Green really high on Kian, and having talked with her a little bit for a story we did previously, incredibly bright player as well.
Yes.
So she's going to be really good on the court, really good in the classroom as well.
Good stuff.
Really smart student. And finally now, in Fuego, this week, who's in Fuego?
In Fuego, Ryan Kemright. I'm falling in love with this guy. Like, he's this guy, talk about a guy who's evolving.
Yeah.
Like, first off, you got to give credit to Dale Layer and his staff for finding him, bringing him to Liberty, and then to Richie and his staff currently for just developing him. Yeah. I remember when he came in, it was just pure shooter. This guy can knock down the three. Look at him right there, just banging bodies and the point, taking the punishment.
Tough guy.
And he is. Like, his game has changed. He's a guy on the court, too. I saw him last game. He came off. He wasn't happy with how his team was playing, and he let them know in a way that a leader should. He was like, come on, guys, you can't give up layups for jump shots right now. And he's a guy that I'm glad we have another year
Say what you will about his hair choices.
Yeah,
but the kid can play basketball.
Exactly.
So we've moved on past that. Rhett, great job as always. Well, still to come, we help you do some of your Christmas shopping. Stick around for an offer you won't be able to refuse. That's when Game On returns.
For more than 4 decades, Liberty University has been redefining success by molding leaders who believe in living out their calling with integrity. We don't just focus on how something is done, but why it should be done. As an accredited liberal arts institution, Liberty offers a broad range of opportunities, balancing academic theory, research, and hands-on training. Liberty's classroom extends well beyond the borders of our campus to a global community of online students who have access to the same quality education as our on-campus students. Excellence at Liberty also plays out on the field through 20 NCAA Division I teams and 35 club sports teams. Our faith inspires us to understand the world around us. Liberty graduates leave here prepared for more than a career. They leave prepared for life. Be more at Liberty University.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Our great nation was built on these simple principles. So was our university. Find your greatness at Liberty. Online or on campus, discover more at liberty.edu. It's the difference between a job and a career.
Liberty University. This is no ordinary school.
This is more than an education.
We're here to equip students to make an impact
On a global scale.
We believe we were created to make a difference,
To serve God.
And each other. Wherever we are.
whatever we study. We are.
Champions for Christ.
We are.
We are Liberty University.
Hey, welcome back to the show. Listen, we all know that you haven't done your Christmas shopping yet, and you're feeling the pressure because the big day is quickly approaching.
Yes. Thankfully, we have a suggestion. Share our stories on Facebook. Let me tell you what I'm talking about here. For the entire month of December, every time that you share one of our stories from our Facebook page, you'll be entered to win a full-size replica Liberty University football helmet. The more you share, the better chance you have to win.
Yeah, so go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/GameOnLU, and press that share button on any and all of our stories, and you could win this beautiful Liberty football helmet. Now, you won't actually receive it until after Christmas, so as far as giving as a gift, that could pose some problems. We'll let you figure that little dilemma out on your own. In the meantime, go to our page, share our stories.
It's fantastic. It's a beautiful bucket.
It certainly is. All right, that about does it for us here this week on Game On. As always, hit us up on social media, as we mentioned, and our website, GameOnLU.com, where you can watch all our stories as well as our archived episodes as well. He's Rhett. I'm Matt. Thank you for watching, and we plan on seeing you right back here next week.